are live. All right, hi guys, welcome to Sea Life in the Aquarium, here with our turtles. We also have one of our divers, Jason and Nicole, who is our turtle feeder for today. Now also with us, we have one of our turtles. So this guy here, this is Dave. He is our hybrid between a loggerhead and a green sea turtle. What we're currently doing is feeding him some of his favorite food, which is squid. So you can see Nicole's going to be offering him some of his favorites and he's going to chomp it on down. Now I know that we do have some questions for you guys, so please do bring them through if you want to learn anything about our turtles here. But as you can see, as he's going away, he pretty much takes one large bite of the squid and it's gone. The reason these guys have these large durable jaws is because out in the wild they naturally feed on crustaceans, and so those strong jaws are really good for breaking the shells of certain things like crabs or even lobsters. Now one of our other males is slowly making his way into the lock. He hasn't quite figured out where the food is yet, but that's because he's probably woken up from a nap. These guys do wake up throughout the day and they sleep underwater into crevices. They'll usually wedge themselves into the rocks or underneath the tunnel, have a bit of a nap for about half an hour to an hour where they hold their breath before they make their way up to the surface to take a breath of air, and they can actually hold their breath for up to 3 hours at a time, which is a pretty unique thing. So as he comes up to the camera there, you can see that he's spurting out little bits of water out through his nose. He's just excreting that out through those nostrils, and he'll do the same through his eye duct with those excess salts that he gets in his environment. Here we go. Chong has made it to the scene and he's now going to enjoy some squid as well. So these two here are actually brothers. They came from the same clutch of eggs. The reason that we have them here today is because they are a hybrid mix, as I said, between a loggerhead sea turtle and a green sea turtle. They were actually found in that clutch as a hybrid due to their morphology. So the way that their shell is shaped, their coloration and their sizing indicated that they were in fact a hybrid mix, and that means they were not suitable for the wild. We don't want to have a hybrid out in the wild to pass on those genetics. We'd rather have just the two different species, being the green sea turtle and the loggerhead turtle, and so that's why we have these boys here with us today. Now, some people always love to know how old a turtle can be. We have in fact had these turtles here since 1993. Myrtle's pushed me out of the way, she's ready to leave. When she comes back, maybe we can talk a little bit more about Myrtle.
How big do they get?
Okay, so we have a question of how big do they get. These guys here, being the loggerhead hybrid mix, are a bit larger, but for a loggerhead turtle, they can usually be anywhere between 100 and 120 kilos.
How hard are their shells? What can it protect them from? That's from Renee Elizabeth.
Hi Renee, so their shells are a really important part of the morphology of a turtle. Their spine and their ribs are actually connected on the underside of it, and so all of their nerve endings are also on the inside. They protect all of those vital organs that are underneath and inside the squishy parts in their shoulders that you can see. And how hard they are is a really tricky question. We might have to come back to that one. It all depends on which turtle species as well.
Fiona wants to know what their favorite food is.
So Fiona, their favorite food for these particular boys are squid heads, which is what they're eating right now. They go through about 6 kilos each every dive feed, and that's usually 3 times a week.
Thomas is wondering if turtles lay eggs.
Hi Thomas, so turtles do lay eggs. They are a reptile, but of course only the females lay those eggs. As Myrtle makes her way back in, you'll be able to see Myrtle, our green sea turtle, and in her clutch of eggs she can lay anywhere between 100 to 120 of them at a time as well.
Alana wants to know how can they survive in the water for a long time.
Hi Alana, so turtles are pretty much suited to live in this aquatic environment. You can see with their flippers that they have, so they have 2 at the front and 2 smaller ones at the back. This really helps them move around in those water environments, but also water currents are really helpful for these guys to be able to move throughout their environment as well.
Zara is curious as to how you can tell if it's a boy or a girl.
Oh, hi Zara. So to be able to tell whether a turtle is a boy or a girl is actually depicted on the shape of their shell or the underside of their shell. So for the boys, they actually do concave inwards, and that's to help meet up with the shape of the girl on the outside. Also, the length of their tail is a good indication. If it is a boy, they have a longer tail because they use that to copulate with the female, and often it will curve underneath into the female when they are copulating.
Samantha wants to know, what is a hybrid?
A hybrid, Samantha, is a mix between two species. So it pretty much is genetically two different ones. For these guys, it is a loggerhead and a green sea turtle. It means that those two species would have reproduced, and then they've got a mix of babies in amongst that.
Emma wants to know if they sleep in the water or on land.
So they do actually sleep in the water, Emma. For these guys, they will usually, in shallower environments, they will sleep under the water where they wedge themselves in between rocks or crevices. In this case, they'll do it all around the exhibit. But in deeper oceans, they often will actually sleep at the surface of the water.
Thomas wants to know how long they can hold their breath.
So for these guys here, Thomas, our turtles can hold their breath for up to 3 hours.
Evie's wondering if they've got any teeth.
So the turtle's teeth is quite different. They don't actually have teeth like we do. These guys here have a beak, and that beak is really sharp, and it's used to either break down crustaceans or chew on seagrass, just like what Myrtle would, because she is actually a herbivore.
Caleb wants to know how long they live for.
So the average life for a loggerhead turtle is up to 50 or above 50 years of age. For a green sea turtle, they've been known to live for over 80 years.
Sarah wants to know how many turtles are at the aquarium.
So we actually have 3 turtles here at the aquarium. We have our 2 boys, Dave and Chong, and then our female, she's Myrtle. Hopefully she comes back soon, you'll be able to have a look at her.
Alice wants to know if they mate for life.
So Simon, turtles do not mate for life, and it's actually quite a competitive field when it comes to that time. Everybody's preaching. So when a female turtle is receptive and is ready to breed, a male turtle will find her and usually shows his interest by either pinching the skin on the back of her neck or the back of her flippers. If she's receptive to that, she won't flee the scene, and then often they'll try to mate, but also it usually then makes up a line of males and they all try to mate with her.
Like The Bachelor.
Like The Bachelor, that's it.
Mitchell's just asked what water temperature they live in.
So these guys here, Thomas, are tropical species. So the water temperature in this oceanarium usually sits between 24 to 25 degrees all year round. Sometimes we do have a winter season as well where we might decrease the temperature, and that usually is about 24 degrees.
Aiden wants to know what the difference between a turtle and a tortoise is.
So Aiden, the difference between a turtle and a tortoise, that's a great question. There are quite a few different things. One, I'll start with the turtles, I guess. As I mentioned, they have flippers, as you can see with the boys here. A tortoise won't have flippers, they actually have legs. Another big difference is the shape of their shell. So these boys here have quite a flat, wide shell, whereas a tortoise has quite a long or wider, broader shell, I guess you could say. And that's just to help them maneuver better on the land. And again, another big difference is turtles live in water, tortoises live on land.
5-year-old Evie loves turtles and wants to know if they're very playful.
So Evie, our turtles here are very playful, but cheeky is probably a better word to describe these guys. As you can see, when it comes to feeding time, we're trying to offer them squid. They're kind of coming on top of each other. Myrtle is a hilarious turtle, and she actually loves to try and scratch off the weights that we put on her back. Because the way that Myrtle came to join us here at Sea Life, she was unfortunately hit by a boat propeller, and that propeller caused her to have floats or air trapped in her shell, and that now creates a floaty bum, like we like to call it. So we actually put weights on her shell to stop her from floating throughout the oceanarium. But she finds them quite itchy and uncomfortable sometimes, so she will actually go around the oceanarium after we've put them on and scratch them right off.
One last question from Nick. Are turtles endangered?
So that is a great question, Nick. These guys have two different listings on our endangered species list. The loggerhead turtle is classified as critically endangered. Vulnerable to extinction, sorry. Whereas the green sea turtle, they are endangered. So unfortunately all turtle species around the world are at some point threatened to extinction. That's due to things like overfishing, being trapped in trawlers' nets, or being caught by fishing lines. So these boys here are lucky to be with us, and same with Myrtle. She was hit by a boat and had to be rescued. Due to that floaty bum, she can no longer live out in that natural environment because she struggles to be able to swim.
Rebecca was wondering how many predators do they have and what their predators might be.
So Rebecca, each turtle will definitely have a large variety of predators. It's hard to put an actual number on it, but you're looking at things like shark species. If a turtle is unwell, of course, if they're found in those shallow environments, you're looking at things like reef sharks or potential bull sharks or tiger sharks. But their biggest predator, unfortunately, is pollution, being trapped in these trawlers' nets, being overfished, or being caught on fishing lines. All right, guys, thanks so much. As you can see, the turtles, they're all full now. They've eaten about 6 kilos of squid each. Myrtle's had about 3 to 4 lettuce heads, and we'd love to see you again next time. Also, thanks so much, Panasonic, for the camera for our filming today.